If I let you choose between these two eggs, which one would you prefer? Probably the same as most people. Number 2, the more orange one. There's something in your survival instinct that tells you this one is better for you, and in fact when you eat it, it tastes better than the yellow one. There must be something special about these eggs, right? Science asked itself this same question a while ago, so a study conducted a very interesting experiment. It created 2 groups of people and had them eat fried eggs of different colors. The first group ate them. They ate with a blindfold on. And the second group, normally. What they found is that the second group rated the taste of the eggs with a more intense color much higher, while the blindfolded group rated them all the same. And that wasn't suggestion, or at least it wasn't the main factor. Other studies have shown that people really do find more orange eggs tastier, but only when they see them before eating them. Something that can be explained by a small brain short circuit due to our particular evolution regarding food. There are 2 reasons why our brains look for the intense orange color. On one hand, in nature, the bright colors of fruits usually indicate that they are ripe, full of sugar and nutrients. While dull colors, they warn us that they are not ready yet, or maybe bitter. Our ancestral diet contained a lot of fruit, and this became ingrained in our brains. On top of this, there's something even more relevant. That our body craves 2 very important nutrients, the vitamin A and carotenoids. And the foods rich in these nutrients are almost always a deep orange color. Carrots, pumpkins, mangoes, that's why your body makes you look for them. However, there's a problem. These pigments don't have any flavor that humans can detect. Or, put another way, because of their chemical nature, our bodies haven't found a way to detect them in saliva or in the nasal passages. But the brain wants to reward us for eating them, so it has to invent that extra deliciousness created from a visual stimulus to encourage us to eat more. It's almost literally eating with your eyes. This explains why the 2 groups of people in the experiment perceived the flavors of the yolks differently. However, in the case of eggs, the mystery goes much further. Because paradoxically, an egg having a more intense color doesn't necessarily mean it's richer in nutrients. But there are eggs that are much more nutritious than others, and it can be very useful to learn how to identify them. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten the green egg from the thumbnail, all in good time. Let me introduce you to Gerardo the salmon. Gerardo lives in the waters of Alaska, and his diet, rich in crustaceans that have abundant carotenoids, gives him the characteristic reddish-orange color of wild Alaskan salmon. They're delicious, although they're a bit expensive. Gerardo had an uncle in Norway, Antonio, who lived in a fish farm. Antonio ate a generic fish feed, and when he died nobody wanted to eat him because he had this whitish color that humans identified as unhealthy or of little nutritional value. Because yes, many times the color of animal products depends much more on their diet than on their species. Knowing this, the fish farm started giving his son Jesus synthetic carotenoid supplements. And people fought to eat Jesus because with that color he must have been delicious and full of nutrients. Gerardo and Jesus have a very similar flesh color. Also, they are cousins, they are the same species, so they should have a similar nutritional profile. But that's not the case, because crustaceans don't just have carotenoids, they have many other nutrients like the very important omega-3. But Jesus doesn't eat crustaceans, he only eats generic feed and synthetic carotenes, which gives him a slightly inferior nutritional profile compared to his cousin unless he receives other supplements. That's why, while Gerardo's color does reflect a varied diet rich in many types of nutrients, Jesus's color reflects a marketing product that exploits your primitive survival systems. Well, exactly the same thing happens with eggs, but in an even more aggressive way. This here is the Roche Yolk Color Scale, developed in 1956. Farmers, distributors, supermarkets, every link in the food industry is very aware of this weakness we humans have for these more intense colors, and it's something they exploit to sell more of the product. The scale has 15 shades, and although you as a consumer never see it, it's used internally to calibrate the hen's diet until they get the desired color and to really confuse your brain. A hen that roams freely through a field full of plants of various species and insects will tend to have a more orange yolk. Here, your body's instinct is correct. It has this color because it has eaten dandelions, clovers, worms, slugs, berries. It's rich in carotene, yes, and also in many other nutrients. But since the invention of the Roche scale concept, you can do with eggs the same as with the Jesus fish. Fill it with color, even though it's still empty of nutrients. Empty, obviously, quote unquote, because look, it's still nutritious and healthy, but in some cases not as much as it could be. In the end, if you want to find more nutritious eggs, you should look at what the hen has been fed and the conditions in which it was raised. In general, a hen that has had access to the outdoors and a varied diet from the ground will be the most nutritious you can find. And within this category are the green eggs. This pigmentation, although extremely rare, can occur, and as long as it's only in the yolk, it's completely edible. Just like carotenoids give an orange color, there are other nutrients like tannins or chlorophyll, which, if ingested by hens, can result in eggs with an intense green color. However, it's rare for hens to have access to such an exotic variety of foods. That's why there are very few recorded cases. One of the first well-studied cases was in 2020 in the state of Kerala, in southern India, where some hens surprised the world by laying eggs with emerald green yolks. Scientists from Kerala Veterinary University corroborated and investigated the phenomenon, discovering that it was not due to a genetic mutation, as was initially suspected, but rather to the diet. The birds that lived in semi-free range conditions had been naturally eating local plants rich in chlorophyll and tannins. Specifically the medicinal herb Sida cordifolia, known as kurunzoti. When the researchers changed their diet to a normal commercial feed, the eggs regained their usual yellowish color. These plants rich in green pigments are scarcer than those with yellow or orange pigments. That's why green-colored eggs are rare. And although it's a color that can be easily replicated by adding synthetic pigments to the hen's feed, no company or farm has done it, because in general, they cause a lot of rejection among the population. But if you ever get the chance to try them, always the natural ones, they might be the most nutritious eggs you could ever taste in your life. Well, for the hen to have eaten natural green pigments means she had a great variety of foods available in her yard, although to be sure, her nutritional profile should be checked first. Thank you very much for watching the video and goodbye.